Hey guys, Coach Rich here at Body Factory Bali. We have a really special episode for you today. Today I'm going to be training with Grant Pieterse, former Mr. Universe and current IFBB Pro. Grant, welcome to Body Factory Bali.
Hi, well, how are you?
Good.
It's awesome to be here. I have trained in the facility for about a week now, and you guys are in for something special. It's definitely a place you want to come down and check out.
Awesome, and today we are going to be training some arms. This is actually the first time Grant and I have trained together, so I'm really excited for it, and hopefully he can put me through my paces a bit, and I can learn some stuff from him, and you guys can learn some stuff from both of us. Just to touch on a little bit about what we're doing today, we're going to be doing an arm workout. Generally, if you're a beginner or even an intermediate lifter, I don't really recommend a direct arm day. Generally, the progression that Grant and I both agree on following is starting with more of a whole body split, then into a half body as you get more advanced, and then into more an upper push, upper pull, legs type split. So if you want any more information on training splits, you can check out my article on the Body Factory Bali blog. It's a full article on hypertrophy training splits and how you can apply them to your own programming. When you would want to use a direct arm workout is if you want bigger arms, and that could be just the case of you think bigger arms will look better, or if you think you've developed a lagging or unbalanced physique. The thing is, when you're following, say, a whole body program or a upper lower program or even a push-pull program, generally those workouts get structured with the big movements at the beginning. So as you become more advanced and you can put more effort into those big movements, generally by the end of the workout you're a little bit more fatigued. So once you're getting to those arm movements, you might find that your output potential has decreased. So that's what can lead to having those lagging biceps and triceps. So even if you are in a whole body split or a half body split, you can take what Grant and I are going to do today and apply it to that as well. Doesn't have to be just a direct arm day. So check out what we do and let us know what you think. Okay guys, so as I mentioned before, generally we structure workouts with the biggest movements at the beginning. So for our biceps and triceps, we're still going to include a multi-joint or compound movement. So what we're going to be doing for our biceps is a pronated grip pull-up, or supinated grip pull-up, I should say. So we're going to be on this bar. Grant set up a band here. Do you want to explain a little bit about why I've got the band?
Yeah, so just so we explained before, obviously we're doing a compound movement, also known as obviously closed kinetic movement. So the reason why we have the band is if you can't lift your own body weight, or you can't do at least 6 or more reps, which is, you know, to achieve hypertrophy or muscle growth, what you want to do is add the band and obviously just attach it bottom of your knee, and then obviously do the workout. So what we'll do is we'll show without the band how to do it. So again, the supinated grip, right? Up. And obviously controlling your movement down. I do about 2 to 3 seconds, squeeze, and down. All right, so the band is just there. When your fatigue starts kicking in, it's gonna assist you, all right?
So guys, as Grant said, this is a multi-joint movement, but what we're going to be focusing on is our elbows, right? So even though there's going to be some secondary pulling happening with our upper back here, we really want to be focusing on our biceps. So squeezing in and getting that really hard contraction there at the top.
This is an important little tip. When you're doing any exercise, be sure you're getting that full stretch and then contraction as well, right? Full stretch. So the reason why I suggested you do that full stretch which was doing the pull-up, a simple note that I have is full range of motion for full development, okay? So huge stretch, full contraction, just gets you incorporating or stimulating more of the muscle fibers so you get better growth as well. Guys, so it's a simple little tip, but also that makes a massive difference. You see what you're doing, that pull up here, be sure to, when you come down, get a full stretch, then contract, okay? Now that is a simple thing to remember, full range of motion for full development, okay?
So guys, as you saw in that last set, I started to fatigue a little bit before the rep range that we were going for. So we're really shooting to try and hit around 8 reps here. And this isn't an exercise that I do very often. My body weight right now is close to 110 kilos, so it's pretty hard when you're just focusing on pulling with the biceps. So as you saw, Grant came in, gave me a little bit of help getting to the top. One thing to take note of though, is I let him do exactly what he needed to do, and I just kept it on my biceps. So if you have someone there spotting you, just stay tight, keep your reps looking exactly the same, and let them do what they need to do to get you to the top. Nice, good. Let's go up, 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 up. Good. Up, all the way, let's go. Come on. All the way, squeeze it, fight it down. And again. Come on, get there, fight it down. Good. Up, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Good, one more. Squeeze. Wow. Fuck. Let's go. Good. Perfect tempo. Perfect. Squeeze. Good. Alright, let's go all the way, big pull. Get there, get there, get there. Up, up. Good. Get it there, get it there, get it there. Good. Up, up, up. Okay guys, we're getting into our second bicep exercise now. We're going to be doing a decline dumbbell curl. So basically what we're trying to do with this is get our elbow nice and far back here behind our body. This changes the profile of the exercise a little bit. So it's going to be heaviest when it's here, and we're going to be hitting a different part of the range for our biceps.
Okay, so this is going to be the second exercise, and what we're going to do is a incline bicep curl, and the reason we're going to do that is basically get a greater stretch in the bicep, okay? But what we're going to add to that factor is adding a negative or eccentric phase to it, but we're going to slow it down to 5 seconds. Usually we'll do about 2 to 3 seconds, but we're going to slow it down on purpose now for 3 seconds and then explode back up, get the squeeze, okay? And the rep range we want to try and hit will be 10 to 12, okay? So remembering that 5-second eccentric. So starting at the bottom, full stretch, squeeze. Nice. Good. One, good. Squeeze. Nice. Good.
Couple of things to note with this is that what we're doing by using the incline setup on the bench, it's allowing us to get more tension in that lengthened range. So when our bicep is fully stretched, if we were here and we initiated the curl from here, there's not a hell of a lot of tension on the bicep in that lengthened range. But because we're changing the profile a bit by having our arm back, this first part of the movement is gonna have quite a bit more torque going through the elbow joint. So one thing to check out that Grant is doing here that's a little bit different to how most people perform this exercise, he's keeping his arm perfectly still till he reaches that contraction, and then when he reaches the contraction, he's just slightly flexing at the shoulder joint a little bit to get it extra short at the top. So getting right through that entire range.
Out. Squeeze. Go. Okay, so one thing that you guys can take a note of, and we all do it when you start getting tired or fatigued, we usually stop our breathing. Okay, so remembering our muscle needs oxygen to do what it's supposed to do. That's combustion. So when we stop breathing, that's the first sign of fatigue, and you'll actually speed up the whole fatigue process, or carbon monoxide buildup or lactic acid buildup in the muscle. So when you get fatigued, always telling yourself, remind yourself, breathing in through your nose, exhale out through the mouth, and you'll notice that your endurance will just pick back up again.
So guys, one thing that we're gonna show you on this set is, personally, when I perform this exercise, like an incline curl, what I do is I keep my elbow pinned back so that my arm is perpendicular to the floor. So as I curl up, I'm leaving my elbow there, my upper arm stays perpendicular to the floor. But today I've tried something different that Grant's shown me. I'll get him to explain it a little bit because he knows better than I do.
All right, so what we're gonna focus on, and the reason why I changed this a little bit when I did the exercises, so when you come up, you're gonna see Rich rotate his elbow slightly forward, and you're gonna see the peak come up. So if you wanna come from this angle here, you'll see he'll rotate, bang. See that peak just arch up, full extension down, explode, rotate, squeeze. You see that peak? I'm gonna take the shirt away, watch this now, what's gonna happen. Up, rotate, squeeze, there, that peak. All right, so this is how you get those mountains. Bang, good squeeze, 5 seconds down. Good, up, squeeze, beautiful. 4, 3, 1, up. So one more, squeeze, squeeze, rotate, bang. Nice, good. Key point to remember that it's not about how much you lift. When you have time under tension, slowing the movement down, getting that contraction at the top, trust me, you don't have to lift a lot of weight when you're getting the simple things right 100%. You start creating growth by not only mind muscle connection, but also rep and volume.
Okay guys, now we're getting into our first exercise for triceps. So we're gonna be doing a big compound or multi-joint movement, but we are gonna be focusing on our triceps. So we're gonna be hitting the dip machine today. I've got an instructional video on dips on our YouTube channel, so make sure you check that out if you want an insight into the fundamentals of the exercise. When you are performing dips, you can use a lot of chest, you can use a lot of front delt, but today, because we're focusing on the triceps, we really want to just be thinking about flexing and extending at our elbow, getting that big squeeze, right? So we don't want to be back here where there's not much torque at the elbow. We want our hand position here by our sides and nice and upright, so we're getting that big stretch and contraction in the triceps. Yep, let's do it. So as I mentioned, guys, see here how Grant is really focused on getting that elbow fully extended, trying not to press too much with his pecs or with his front delt. We're just trying to squeeze here on the tricep. Also, one thing to take note of is look at how little movement there is in the rest of his upper body. His spine staying completely neutral. His shoulders aren't coming up and pushing down, helping him get the weight down. He's just moving that load with his triceps.
Just a simple reminder again there, when you start getting tired, remember your breathing. In through your nose, out through your mouth, explode, squeeze. Really watch the tricep do its job here. Squeeze, there we go. Full stretch, full development, squeeze. Nice. Good. Control, squeeze. Good.
So one other thing to take note of, guys, is we've set this up today with a resistance band. So this is called accommodating resistance. So what we're trying to do here is actually make this exercise get heavier as we get closer to that contraction. So in this position where we're the strongest, it's actually not a hell of a lot of load going through the triceps. It's the same concept with like a close grip bench press. When you're coming up, the load gets stacked through your joints. So the triceps, in particular the dip and the close grip bench press, are a really great exercise to add a resistance band or some chains to. That way, when you're strongest and there's not a whole lot of tension going through, you've got some extra resistance at the top, and then it's gonna get a little bit easier as you bring the load down.
All right, so how Rich was explaining before, how we're incorporating the band to this movement. So another way to look at it is, as you get into the most vulnerable position of the movement, which is just before you start the concentric, the band has the least amount of force. Then as you progress through the concentric movement to the peak, the force increases. Now, what that does is, it allows you to switch on the muscle fiber from the very start of the concentric movement and keep them all switched on right to the end. Usually when you wouldn't have the band, as the force decreases, muscle fibers would switch off. So this helps you switch them all on and keep them on through the range of motion.
Up. Up.
Nice breathing. Good. Let's go.
Up.
Let's go.
Up.
Let's go. 5 now. 5 now. Keep moving. 4. Let's go. Breathe. Breathe. Up. 2. Breathing. Up. One more. Breathe. Up. Squeeze. Good.
Oh. I'm sure you saw my face all screwed up on that set. This is another really important thing to note. We can give you all the execution tips in the world and you can get the exercise down pat and make it look pretty. But if at some point you don't load it and start using some real effort, you're not gonna get anything out of it. So you can see right now, I've just finished the set. Just on a tricep exercise, I'm pretty toast. So just make sure once you do have the execution down, you are giving it a good jolt. Okay guys, now we're getting into our next bicep exercise, which is going to be the first in a antagonist superset. So we're going to be doing biceps and triceps for this one. We're going to be kicking it off with a double high cable curl. You had a different name for them. What was your name for them?
I just call them cable pretty boys.
Cable pretty boys, because you look in the mirror and flex your biceps. So yeah, so this is a double high cable curl. It's going to be coming from here, pulling in nice and close. Now this pairs really well with the incline dumbbell curl that we did, because that incline dumbbell curl is really testing you in that lengthened position. This here is actually as short as you can get your bicep. So right here, when the exercise is at its hardest, is really nailing that shortened bicep.
Now already as well.
Yeah, grab the one.
Okay, so the important part here, as Rich explained, is we're really now focusing on the peak of the bicep. So if you come to the back here, you'll actually see what I'm referring to. So watch this, is come up, squeeze. There's a peak, stretch, squeeze. Stretch, squeeze. Okay, so that's what we're trying to work on. Not the length, which what we did before, but the peak of the bicep. All right, so just control that movement, good. After we do this movement with the tricep overhead rope extension. Okay, so again, back to this, full extension, squeeze. Squeeze, get that peak right in there, feeling it, squeeze, good. Up. Okay, straight into the rope tricep overhead extension. Now full stretch and squeeze. Control the movement and squeeze. Okay, remembering at the same time, control our breathing. Breathing in through our nose on the eccentric, explode up, out through our mouth, squeeze. Always remember those things, simple but easy to forget. Good work.
So guys, one other important execution tip. Look at Grant's upper arm. The only thing that's moving is his elbow, right? Just pulling with that bicep. So we don't want to see this swinging up and down, moving here at the shoulder. This is the only joint that we're focusing on. Big squeeze there in the bicep. Keeping it nice and tight, really stable through there.
Up.
Okay, so for the last exercise, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the easy bar curl. We call them 21s. Basically what that means is in total there'll be 21 reps, and the first part of movement is start from the bottom, count to halfway, 7 reps, from halfway right up to the top, peak contraction, 7 reps, all right? And then last 7, we're gonna go full range of motion from the bottom to the top, okay? Remembering, trying to volumize the end of the training now, so higher reps to get your heart rate up. In theory, what that does is release more growth hormone, increasing fat burning, increasing more hormones to be released, which helps more muscle growth as well.
Guys, Grant's gonna be going first here because I haven't done these for a very, very long time, but as he said, we're using this as a quote unquote finisher. I don't really like that term, but if you do these correctly and you put the effort in, you'll be pretty finished after you finish the set. I haven't done these for probably about fucking 5 years, 6.
All right, so bottom to halfway. Yep, don't go too high. Yep, good. And again, you don't have to be too strict on the form here, so it's just about moving the weight. 4, that's it, 1, 2, just move it, not all the way down. 4, 5, 6, one more. 7, full range of motion, you can swing it now, let's go. 1, that's it. 2, let's go, come on, work. 3, good, breathing. 4, let's go. Up. 2 more, breathe. One more. Up, squeeze, good, nice.
Whoa. Fuck. Luckily we put the fucking on it. Woo.
So you can see now, obviously, that's why I do call it the finisher. You see, he's dropping the weights, eh?
I'm finished.
But I mean, like you said before, it's not really, it's just to really fatigue the last bit of energy, fibers that you haven't torn, volumizing it. So it's just tapping into what you haven't tapped into yet, making the weights lighter, increasing the reps.
Okay guys, that is a wrap on the arm workout featuring Grant Pieterse, former Mr. Universe, IFBB Pro. It's been super awesome having him out here to train. We're gonna try and get a couple more workouts in to show you guys. But yeah, have a think about what we did. Like I said at the beginning, doesn't matter if you're training whole body, doesn't matter if you're training half body, push-pull legs, or if you're training a typical bro split where you do single body part on each day. You can take the principles we've discussed, the exercises we've performed, and apply them to your workouts, and hopefully they're of some value. But thanks to Grant, got a pretty gnarly arm pump, and maybe in 20 years I can, if I keep going the way I'm going, I can look like this guy.
Thanks for having me, which, like I said, I mean, this whole process is the most important part I take out of it, is that you never know too much. I mean, I've learned today from Rich, as like I was assuming he's learned from me, and that's
absolutely,
that's how, you know, when you're open and willing to always learn, it doesn't matter what someone's achieved, you can always improve, you know. So if there's one thing I can say that you can take away from this, that I would say that's helped me a lot, it would be working on that mind-muscle connection, that when you're training, think about what you're training and how you're finishing the movement, not necessarily just lifting a whole lot of weight. The weight will come once you know how to perfect a movement. And trust me, when you can see it in here, you will make it happen here. All right, basic mind-muscle connection.
All right, guys. So that's a wrap. Let us know what you think. Hit us up with a comment. If you want to see anything else from us, let us know, and we'll catch you on the next episode.